Week 1 of the AFL Finals are done and dusted, and what a week it was. Full of drama on the field and drama in the tribunal. It's led up to a cracking week of semi-final action here in the finals for 2023. Let's quickly recap my Week 1 finals tips, and I've started off with a 4 of 4. Absolutely delightful, and it wasn't just a 4 of 4. I know it's only 4 games, but definitely my best week of tipping all year. On the Thursday night, we've started off with Collingwood versus Melbourne, where Collingwood got the job done by 7 points, and I predicted them to win by 9. It's only 2 points off there. In the Carlton versus Sydney game, the Blues got the job done by 6 points, and I predicted the Blues to win by 41. Quite a far way off there. I thought the Swans actually put up a much better fight than I expected them to. In the Swans and the Giants game, the Giants got the job done by 24 points. In a game that was very similar to what I predicted, not only how the game would play out, but I was only 1 point off the margin. I predicted the Giants by 23 and they won by 24. And then the last game of the round, the Lions beat the Power by 48 points. And I went and only predicted the Lions to beat the Power by 48 points. My margins were absolutely on par this weekend, apart from the Blues Swans game. If you are new and want to see more content throughout the AFL Finals series and going into 2024, as well as the off-season, then hit the subscribe button and like the video so you don't miss out on any action. We're going to start off with this Friday night. I will be streaming this game at the MCG, Melbourne and Carlton. What a contest we have in our hands. If we take a look at the odds from the bookies, very, very interesting. The Ds are actually favourites by 50 odd cents. So the punters are heavily favouring the Demons, and I don't know, this is a really interesting contest. The Demons last week fell to Collingwood by 7 points, and I really think the scoreline flattered them. I thought Collingwood had control for most of it. It was obviously a really controversial start in the first 5 minutes. Angus Brayshaw absolutely clattered by Brayden Maynard. And people are saying that Angus Brayshaw may never play football again and may retire. How devastating would that be for still a player so young and with so much footy ahead of him? He's an absolute superstar. I hope Gus can get back to his best and at the very least playing football. So with no Angus Brayshaw, obviously this week, and if Melbourne make it through, potentially not the prelim either, the Demons definitely are on the backwards foot. Angus Brayshaw is such a crucial player in terms of their ball movement off the wing, from half-back out in the middle. He's been playing a lot of inside mid this season. You can pretty much chuck Angus Brayshaw in any position, and I think they'll miss that sort of player on the day, especially with Carlton's ability to be so dynamic around the ground. You take a look at the scoring shots, and Melbourne had 18 scoring shots, and Collingwood had 17. So Melbourne actually had more scoring shots. They just couldn't put it through in front of the big sticks. Their forward structure and forward connection was actually a lot better. All Melbourne need to do now is just kick the ball straight and they will get the win. It's as simple as that. Carlton, on the other hand, they really let Sydney get back into it late. And I think if they're playing a team like Melbourne, who are a lot better than Sydney, you cannot afford to let Melbourne get back into it this late. They really need to be on their A game for the entire contest and can't afford any minor slip-ups that may allow the opposition back into it. I thought the scoreboard did flatter Melbourne, but I didn't think they were horrendous. And I think with Carlton's vulnerabilities laying on in games, despite their incredible form, I could see this game going either way, and I think it's going to be an absolute cracker. But I'm going to go the Demons to win it by 4 points in an absolute belter. In fact, like another belter between these two teams, because it feels like whenever Melbourne and Carlton play, it's always an absolute cracker, which would see Melbourne advance to a preliminary final against the Brisbane Lions at the Gabba. Now moving into the second semi-final on the Saturday night, it is Port Adelaide against GWS. Both these teams were involved in quite convincing results, each at different ends of it. The Giants, they really did just cruise past St Kilda. A strong first quarter really did set them up for a really cruisy next 3 quarters. I will say St Kilda did look a bit off all day. It didn't look, they weren't going in for the tough one-on-one contests. They didn't really look themselves. Celebrations after goals didn't look all that upbeat. I must say it could be something to do with the late out of Tim Membry on what is suspected to be mental health issues. So yeah, I do send my best wishes out to Tim Membry, because from what it sounds like, it does seem truly tragic what is happening with him at the moment. So I hope he can just get his mental state back in check, because it looks like it really affected the Saints on the weekend. Back to the footy, yeah, the Giants, I feel like, really just cruised over the Saints. Their contest work was absolutely superb. Tom Green, what a game from him. I was really impressed by Jake Riccardi. Now, Riccardi kicked 3 goals too, so probably could have been a little bit more accurate in front of goal, but he did really well at bringing the ball to ground for the Smalls to do the dirty work. I thought Josh Kelly was also absolutely superb in that wing role. He just racks up the ball, hits the scoreboard. But I think the one guy I was really impressed with was Toby Bedford. After all that drama throughout the week in the tribunal, and only for him to go out, not let that affect him, and have an absolute blinder. I thought pushing up to the wing, pushing to half forward, even deep in the forward line, he looked himself and looked absolutely superb. The Power, they got convincingly beaten by the Brisbane Lions. However, they didn't play atrocious football. It was always going to be an extremely tough game. The Lions haven't lost at the Gabba this year. I always knew this would be a smashing, and it was. However, I don't think it will let the Port Adelaide heads drop. There were still some shining lights from that game for the Power. Zach Butters, I thought, was absolutely superb around the contest, as well as playing a better half forward. Connor Rozee, silky smooth as always. They really did get to work, but I just don't think it was enough against an incredible Brisbane outfit. Obviously, the one man we have to talk about, oh Lord, Ollie Lord. What a game from him. 4 goals, announcing himself on the AFL final stage at the toughest place to play in footy is truly remarkable. I thought their mid to forward connection wasn't actually too bad, and as I said, they were just beaten by the much better side. The Power and the Giants played only 3 weeks ago, and Port Adelaide won that game by 51 points. And I feel like added to the atmosphere that finals footy at the Adelaide Oval brings, that you'll never tear us apart pre-game. In my finals predictions, I said that GWS would tackle this momentum back and win the game. I've had some different feelings over the past week. I feel like it's going to be a really, really good contest up until about the 3rd quarter, where the Port Adelaide crowd fully lifts them up. I think we forget they were a top 2 contender for most of the first half of the year. That remarkable game they had against Collingwood, I really feel like the crowd will be like that, absolutely pumping. You know, the toughness of Butters and Rozee will really get to work. Horne-Francis will have an absolute blinder, rack up 35 with a goal. And I'm going to go Port Adelaide to win this game by 31 points and advance into a prelim against Collingwood. So there are my tips. I've gone Melbourne to beat Carlton by 4 points and Port Adelaide to beat GWS by 31 points. They'll each advance into a prelim against the 2 qualifying final winners. If you don't want to miss any more content, then hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers. If you're still watching, I thought I'd let you all know to go check out my second channel, UKFC. I'm really pushing out to get as big as it can. I cover heaps of Premier League content, as well as all European and international football content. So if you enjoy that sort of stuff, then make sure to go check it out. The link is in the description.